Hi, Kavishka. How are you?
Hi, great and you.
I'm very happy to catch up with you. And I was noticing on your Facebook profile of late on the KZN fashion event. Can you tell me how you felt the moment you got selected?
Well, that was actually, I know this interview was quite long overdue. We were supposed to do a follow up. So, what happened is in December, I was actually approached by my modeling agency, by my modeling coach directly. And she just she emailed me, she asked me, am I available and would I be interested in, representing our agency for this event, and I was like thrilled at the opportunity because, like I said previously, it's been like a lot of training and a lot of certification and a lot of monitoring and grooming in like finishing school for modeling, and basically, like I said, always to prepare us for real events of this nature. And it did take place in Pietermaritzburg as well, so I only had like 2 weeks notice, or like less than 2 weeks, if I'll put it that way, because you got to go for your outfit fitting as well. I was actually taken aback because, like I said, in this industry, times are changing very, very much, and
Hmm.
when it comes to like, it's a very, it's very stereotypical. So you have to be like someone who's really tall, really slim, and fit European sort of body standards when it comes to size and height requirements. But because it was a high fashion event award that's affiliated with the agency, whereby it's the fashion design students who actually get models from the agency to, it's like a basically like, what they work hand in hand in tandem to showcase not just the designers that are up and coming in the industry, but as well as the young talent, which is us who are actually aspiring models, so that we can, potentially be booked for like your much larger scale events like the City's Bend Fashion Week and things like that. So it felt very surreal, but at the same time, it was something I expected because, like I said, it's like you prepare. You can never ever fail to prepare. If someone is going to open a restaurant, they're going to have certain things that they're going to put into place before they, finally launch. So it was, in a way, kind of expected, but at the same time, I previously was not even aware of this event prior to getting approached. And I did agree. And yeah, that was that.
Yeah, what was this event about and how did you get selected?
So when you are part of a modeling agency as big as Irene's modeling agency, you normally, she would place you. So Irene would place you where she sees fit when it comes to representing the agency and the brand overall, as well as your availability as a model. So when the two match up, then you have a winning situation there. So she wanted me to be the lead model for the curvy category of designers that was showcasing. So each designer had their own range, and they showcased a, a range of couture garments for different body types, not just your, like I said, European standards of being a size zero or things like that. So the KZN School of Fashion Awards, or it seems like it, to me, it's an annual event that takes place, and it's an award ceremony and a celebration of fashion that's representing not just Queen Elizabeth, but the whole of KZN when it comes to fashion design students who are either in their first year or their third year majoring as qualified fashion designers. And it's actually a very high accolade to have attached to your name, to be affiliated with such big brands like this, with a lot of sponsors at the event. It was in conjunction with the Liberty Woodlands Mall of Pietermaritzburg and the KZN School of Fashion as a whole. And this actually was coincidentally like over 20 years for them as well. It was marking the amount of time that they've been, developing young talent. And that's what basically it was about.
Uh, how do you, at short notice, prepare for these type of events and that too of high caliber?
So that part, like I said, so it's all like such an adrenaline rush when you are told, okay, you need to come through for an outfit fitting and all of that. So being a stereotypical female, excuse me, being a stereotypical female, we don't. most women go on like fat diets and stuff like that. But when it comes to me, I tend to
Mhm.
train really hard, consistently, so that I'm ready whenever there is an event of this nature. So naturally, upon hearing that I'm selected and that I'm gonna come in for the dress fitting and outfit rehearsal, things like that, I just went and trained harder physically in terms of my exercise regimen and in terms of detoxifying my body, because when it comes to fashion, like these are the things that your modeling coach and your training academy is not going to tell you. It's kind of like common knowledge. Detoxifying the body, in terms of your dietary intake, is so important so that your body can perform under such strenuous conditions like optimally. Because if you're feeding your body subpar snacks and junk, and not proper meals and not
Mm.
organic stuff, you're not going to perform, because those are like really long hours. All modeling work is like nothing. It's like anything from 6 to 12 hours, or even more at times. Sometimes 18 hours. It's kind of like shooting a movie, but you are like backstage for a really long time. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on the day of the main event that you gotta be physically prepared for and mentally. And when it comes to the body, if the mind cannot conceive it, then you can achieve it. So obviously, it's a mental prep first. Not a lot of information is given to you on the get go of what garment you're wearing. So body confidence is really important. That's where the mental game comes in. You've gotta like be so at peace or so confident that you don't have an issue with any of your physical imperfections at any angle of your body, as well as being literally the muse, because that's your job, is to physically be the muse for the garment, as well as have that rigidity within yourself and that discipline within yourself to showcase the discipline and the professionalism of the actual modeling techniques that you've learned, because you're representing now your agency, you are representing your category of other females or other models, you're also representing the main designers that are showcasing at this event. So a lot of pressure, and yes, you do get a little bit nervous. So you gotta give yourself like, think eye of the tiger. You gotta like rev yourself up in your mind's eye.
Mm-hmm.
Days and weeks leading up to the event. You gotta like tell yourself every day, okay, I'm ready for this. So training, training, training in your own time. Ramp walk training is like riding a bicycle or driving a car. It never ends. They often say models don't know how to walk like a normal person once they learn how to do a catwalk. It's quite true, because you once you develop that posture and that stance, you're gonna always carry yourself, conduct yourself in that manner, and sort of like tower over people. So you kind of stand out even in normal situations, uh, in your life, even when you are not like modeling or at an event. So yeah, mental and physical, train hard.
In terms of the overall preparation for professional modeling, is it 60-40 or even 50-50? Is it like mental, physical?
For me, I think for all models it is 50-50, because most of the models for large events, they have most models that aren't like nationally recognized or have gotten their big breakers, yes, myself included. It's very
Mhm.
much 50-50, because all these people that are qualified or fully trained models, they are coming from an average lifestyle as well. They also have other things that they are busy doing. So I would, like I said, it's an ongoing thing. It's sort of got to be implemented in your lifestyle, in your blood as a person. Not like, hey, I'm just gonna dress up nice today because it's your occasion, or I'm gonna eat clean, or I'm gonna train hard because I have an event coming up. No, it's got to be part of your daily life. Uh, as an aspiring model, or as a model that's like, prepping for the big break in the industry, got to be part of your lifestyle, because you got to be ready, snap of a finger at any given time
Mm.
for any opportunity to arise, such as one of this caliber. So I'd say for the average model, 50-50. But for me
Mhm.
personally, I'd say, like, to be very honest, right now, I'd say it's like 80-20. Specifically,
Oh,
I'd say
okay.
80% for me is physically, and
Okay.
20% is mental, because I've done the mental work like a long time ago. So nothing really
Okay.
phases me or affects my self esteem that much.
Okay. Can you tell me more about your placement in the event and the responsibility of representing career models on behalf of the agency?
All right, sure. So, like I said, being chosen for ramp modeling,
Okay.
being a career model or being mid-sized, according to Google and according to um, European standards and fashion, now you're like the international fashion house standards. Uh, a plus, this is quite a touchy subject for me, so I would love to digress on. I mean, I'd love to sort of like go into it quite a bit if you don't
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
So
No.
when
No.
it comes to the world of fashion and modeling,
Hmm.
we follow overseas standards as well. So your size, we follow in South Africa our footwear and our clothing. We actually follow UK standardized sizes and not really American sizes. So all these little things in jargon are actually very important. So how you would actually be categorized in South Africa as a model is if you are a size 36 UK, or should I say UK size 12, and if you're between 36, 38, and beyond, you are already now in the career category or
Oh.
mid-size category. So amongst commoners, amongst women that are like fashion enthusiasts, you get this phrase called "I'm a mid-size queen" or "I'm mid-sized" or "I'm just mid," because plus size actually is a separate category altogether, and a lot of South Africans, both men and women, and the general public at large, they seem to have this very, very, very big confusion when it comes to what is considered curvy and what is considered plus size. And sometimes it can come across as offensive for some of us who are in the industry. Some models actually don't really care because they're not really too concerned with being labeled. But for me personally, being categorized as curvy is a bit more acceptable than plus size, because for me
Hmm.
plus size and even in terms of standardization, plus size actually starts from like size 40 and beyond, which is size 16 and beyond. So size
Hmm.
6, UK size 16 and 18 is plus size, and South African, UK, and international mid-size slash curvier range starts from 36, between like 36 and like 38, which are what I've actually been my whole entire life. And this is where it poses quite a challenge being a model in this industry. For me personally, I have the height, but I dip on the curvier side, and I don't, or I will not ever be considered plus size, because I'm literally dead smack in between your stereotypical European standard high fashion model, who are your size zeros, which is basically your size 28, your size 30, your size 32. And then you get, like I said, you start your mid size from your 36, because size 34 actually ends as being considered a slim or skinnier model. So yeah, it's quite that's why I was so flabbergasted at being chosen, because I thought like sometimes we tell ourselves things like you think you don't fit in somewhere, but you actually do. And then to be in the lead, to lead our entire group of models, it was quite a high accolade for me in my career in terms of how fast I progressed. And a lot of professionals in the industry, like the judges on our judging panel that have seen us in the training academy, that were at the event, as well as the CEO of Liberty Midlands Wall, who was a speaker at this event, as well as the fashion design trainers and the fashion designers themselves. You are rubbing shoulders and you are bumping heads with these people and many other designers that are affiliated, that are from Joburg and Cape Town as well and beyond. There's all eyes on you and every other model out there. So you got to be at your optimum best at all times, because you never know, what remarks you're going to get passed upon you in terms of your professionalism. Because all of the little things, like I said, matter your personality as much as discipline. It's very important in modeling.
Okay.
So I hope you know
Uh,
the upwards.
yeah. Okay. So let's get into couture. Can you give me some insights on who you were wearing and what did you particularly like about representing the designer Smangele Mbanjwa?
Yes, so Smangele Bandra was the designer that selected me when I went for my dress rehearsal when we were prepping a week prior to the event. She selected me and she said that I would be perfect to showcase her garment. because she actually designed a very high fashion piece. It was very much representing African heritage, so I really liked that. It was my
Mhm.
first time actually wearing an African heritage traditional garment, and but with a modern twist. So it was a very structured off the shoulder blouse in green and black, but the showstopper of it was these long cape sleeves. So these sleeves were like wings. They would almost like come out like wings, and it was like really, really like graceful, angelic, very structured blouse. It was completely backless, and she paired that with a really nice uh, palazzo pants or like a wide-legged trouser with pockets,
Mhm.
and that was the outfit. And obviously, our overall aesthetic was, as oftentimes with models, when you are wearing high fashion couture, you've got to either go with a certain avant-garde theme of makeup, which is very, very intense, that's suiting the theme, or you would go very neutral, and your hair would either be very elaborate or it would be very simple, depending what sort of gown you're wearing. So when I got to try this garment on, let me tell you, I was like blown away because just that experience of engaging with her, getting compliments on my physique from the designer. Her telling me that, you're perfect for this garment to represent my garment, I felt proud. I felt honored to showcase for someone that talented because I shared in her vision as well. The color was a really beautiful, literally your South African flag green. So it was like, patriotism all the way, and very beautiful but modern outfit. And I personally liked it because I'm not just a model; I also design outfits as well. So I also have like, my own opinions and my own views in garment design and like what I would actually wear and what I wouldn't wear. So I really loved the outfit. It was an honor to wear it. I just like the blouse was a showstopper, and I wouldn't specifically wear a garment like that in public for any event. Maybe the blouse, but the pants doesn't suit my personal style. But overall, the ensemble was like it was very, very, very like very strong energy. It gave off very strong, structured yet cultural vibe. So it was amazing. She, as a designer as well, meeting her was an honor. Working alongside her was an honor. Discussing little subtle nuances like the makeup look and the accessories that would best suit this garment it was really a pleasure to work with her. And she was actually came out in the top three at the awards, and for being one of the top three designers of the evening for her overall collection and not just for the sustainable garment range, because that garment, we have to remember the curvier range as well as the garment itself, the designers were all subject to showcasing what or how would they create a designer garment out of sustainable fabrics and materials, because in the world of fashion design, not all fabrics are sustainable. That is why you get one-off pieces and you get pieces that would actually retail at your chain stores that will actually be available to the public. So it was a sustainable couture range for Smangele, and I was actually the lead model for the entire category. So that was like really an amazing experience.
Yeah. Tell me something regarding the societal standards. Would you say the societal standards differ as compared to fashion houses? And what's your perception of the ideal figure, body type, etc.?
Okay, so coming back to that, yes, I do agree that standards have changed over the years. Like I said, there has been a lot of gravitational pull towards like the curvier woman and things like that over time, because I think the world overall is just sort of being more forgiving, more embracing that there are different body types, especially with women's figures. It's not so toxic as it once was back in the 90s
Mm,
with
mm,
your Cindy Crawford and your Katie Holmes and like Naomi Campbell, all your Hollywood lead actresses turn models or vice versa, or would be chosen to wear a showstopper. Like, nowadays you get like your curvier actresses and singers and rap artists and things like that are actually, being selected over the last few years for Victoria's Secret, for a showstopper for like your high-end designers like Thierry Mugler and stuff like that. I remember, 2 years ago, back in 2022, Megan Thee Stallion, she actually was selected to premiere the Thierry Mugler suit. There was a really beautiful suit that she wore for one of her music videos, and it was like an affiliation. In the past, you would never get that. You would never get a woman of color, let alone a curvier woman that's tall. So being tall and curvy is like really a thing these days, and it's considered like it's considered like something that is like of value and like high esteem if you are tall and if you are curvy, and especially if it's like a natural curvy body, because we're also not forgetting we live in a day and age where you can be anything that you want to be, with advances in technology and cosmetic surgery and plastic surgery and things like that. It's each to their own. Whatever you want
Mm.
to direction you want to mold your body or your features in, you can. It's totally up to you. And with that
Mm.
being said, a person who's slim can be curvy if they so desire, and vice versa. If someone who's very curvy wants to like really categorize themselves as slim, they can do so. Depending what procedures they want to go for. But in terms of natural bodies, I would say it's I'm all for it because it's been a long time coming, and I feel like women of color, especially in our country, um, when it comes to fashion or being selected in the beauty industry or being selected in the modeling industry, being being mid-size or being curvier, it's really amazing to see with event companies and these pageant event companies and firms and other fashion houses that they are actually seeking or being more favorable towards the curvier woman of color, and it's sort of like shifting away a little bit from your rigid, stereotypical Caucasian slim
Mm.
figures that were very much a thing of the 90s. Excuse me, because body image dysmorphia is a real thing. We all go through it despite what bodies we are born
Mm.
with. And even someone who you think may be perfect in society's eyes or really slim, we've lost a lot of lives over the decades, I think, internationally, when it comes to young females and their body perception, with
Mm.
the agenda of pushing, okay, you need to be a size zero, you know, stereotypical Barbie body. It's, when a loss of life is involved, I think that's when we need to, seriously reconsider what image or aesthetic are we really pushing in such a superficial industry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overall walking the runway for the Catering School of Fashion Showcase. What has this actually done for your career and the
Um,
experience, of course?
the experience was overwhelming a little bit at first, but I'm no stranger to the stage. But
Hmm.
seeing all the literally like the lights on you, the cameras rolling, um, being in a on like such a it's such a professional setup of like such a high caliber, it's given me the physical experience and the mental experience and just the energetic experience of what's to come and what's to expect
Mm.
for more bigger events that could be both locally within South African borders as well as abroad and
Mm.
globally, of course. So the experience, it's like you cannot put a price on that experience. It was one of a kind. Energy backstage is very high. You get
Mm.
to, like I said, network and rub shoulders and
Mm.
get to encounter a lot of people that you wouldn't normally under normal circumstances. Because remember, you are backstage with these professionals for like 6 to 12 hours. The event, I mean, we
Wow.
were there from 2 p.m. and I only left the venue um, at midnight, and I only got back to
Wow.
Durban this morning. So you're not
Wow.
allowed to. You're not allowed. Backstage is backstage. You got to be physically strong to endure your roll calls, your training
Mm.
sessions, your team meetings at the back. There's a lot of prep that goes on backstage.
Mm.
It's a job at the end of the day. It's not fun and games and we like all
Of
chilling or
course.
something.
Yeah.
No, it's
Yeah. Yeah.
there's that stuff that goes on in the background before that moment. Literally, as they say, your 15 minutes of fame. I mean, how long is a model really seen, in front of cameras for that
Mm.
garment? But how much of
Mm.
prep goes on in the background?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
very minimal, but to get that level of perfection and that minimal moment that you have, you only have like less than I think less than 2 minutes on stage for your to get all your angles, get all your poses in, as well as showcase my garment, depending what caliber or what's the overall theme of this type of fashion show. So, and what you are instructed to do or not do. So you really gotta be like focused, alert at all times. There's no time to feel weary and dreary backstage when it comes to this. So very just like a overall surreal experience, but a very amazing experience.
Yeah, okay. Finally, I would like to know what would you like to work on personally to give yourself that added edge to for future larger scale events such as this?
I love this question because,
Mhm,
like I said, there's so much that goes on in modeling,
mhm,
like behind the scenes when you are prepping for major events, that you can
mhm,
be trained and you can be groomed to take the stage, but there's a lot of
mhm,
things you gotta do the inner work, like I always say, mentally prepared, have a skin in terms of your confidence, because you are subject to get commentary. You are subjected
mhm,
to judgment and commentary all the time. It's not going to
mhm,
be, you can't be pleasing everybody at all times. All you can do is discipline yourself to
mhm,
handle it mentally, as well as prepare yourself for a lot of negative talk and
mhm,
a lot of negative energy that may come your way, because not everyone is going to receive the things that you do in this industry together and well. And that's a major thing. So for me personally, I would like to give myself a pat on the back, because I have grown so much this past 2 years on this journey. The physical, being a woman of color, being curvier, and having body confidence is one thing, but being able to accept modeling work and be included for mega events, you've got to have that added edge, and you've got to be so comfortable with being stripped down bare in front of others when you are like literally getting ready for a shoot or getting ready for an event, because in the modeling world, that is not norm. Like nudity is not an issue in the modeling world, because talking about body types, body sizes, neck picking, or being very specific on an inch here or a kilo gain there or whatever, it's so normal. And being able to undress and just the psychology behind nudity and being able to be even more brave, I would say, is what I'd like to work on. Like I've reached a level now where I'm so confident and comfortable with being okay with some of the extreme levels of unity that takes place among total strangers in the in the training or in the process of getting geared up to be on stage or backstage or whatever. But like those are little things that no one talks about. And you gotta you gotta behave normal. You gotta behave at
mhm,
the norm. So I would say to myself, just working more on developing that body confidence for um, situations where a lot more flesh is shown, a lot more nudity is involved, because it is the norm in the modeling industry, and you just gotta be, no one tells you this, but you gotta be like so normal and okay with it, because it is such a mental game, and there's
mhm,
so much of backlash that comes with it. But when I say
mhm,
backlash, I from the public, but not necessarily never. So one thing about modeling industry and fashion industry is that like-minded individuals or individuals that are in the industry, they will never ever have anything to negate what you are currently doing or showcasing. But it's the general public that will, because they don't their mentality. They don't understand the
mhm,
industry and that sort of works. And we see this a lot in Hollywood. We see this in Bollywood. A lot of your big celebs and your stars get, slammed hard for the amount of skin shown or the amount of nudity that is portrayed in an ad campaign or whatever. Oftentimes, you don't
mhm,
realize those are not the model's own choices and decisions. Oftentimes, the shoot director's idea or what the brand is trying to push overall. And in So sorry about that. I see our network on both yours and mine went off all of a sudden.
I know mine was fine, but yeah, but it's okay. It's technology, eh? Technology. This, yeah,
Yeah, so I think we've come towards the end.
yeah.
Almost towards the end, and then this happened.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, you were telling me about the Bollywood and
Yes, I
how
was
they.
saying, in closing with that, we're in an industry where sex sells in when you in marketing, advertising, and working with brands, and just in
Mm,
the image of beauty and fashion, and
mm,
promotions and campaigns of products. Oftentimes, society as a whole, they don't seem to understand that.
mm, mm,
Oftentimes, with your larger scale celebrities, actresses, models, both in Bollywood and Hollywood, the general public will, slam these people and cyberbully them and come down hard with commentary on this. Oftentimes, they don't understand that it is a requirement of the campaign, of the brand, or of
mm,
even the director of that ad campaign, of showing that amount of unity, or maybe her,
mm,
especially with female models, posing in a
mm.
certain way that
Yeah,
is sometimes deemed inappropriate to certain um, communities.
yeah,
It may seem as
yeah.
like a community violation, but
Mm,
like I said, in this industry, in this world, there is a market for everyone and a market
mm,
for target market for everything. So
mm,
it's not like it's not, I don't think it's ever inappropriate. It's just that I think a lot of people in society feel very strongly about nudity as a large because as a whole, because there's a lot of religious beliefs and a lot of
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
thoughts and beliefs that is like sort of molding their perception when it comes to amount of nudity shown in the sort of industry, and
Yeah.
maybe that's why it sort of has like a negative connotation. But I was just
Mm,
saying, like anybody throughout my journey, from much I've been in this industry, no one in the industry of fashion, both locally and internationally, will ever have any negative attitudes towards um, any type of model, whether she is plus size, curvy, or a normal high fashion model. There is never a negative remark or anything negative or any negative connotation attached or linked to. Um, there's no such thing as too sexy or too revealing. It's all an art form, and it takes a certain kind of mentality to really appreciate these sort of art forms. I mean, from your Grecian sculptures of like your Greek goddesses and gods and your cherubs and stuff like that. If you look at its art, the human
mm.
anatomy itself is actually art, and more especially of a woman's body. So there's so much. That's a story for another day that I feel very
Mm,
strongly about. But if, in a nutshell, that's
mm,
basically it when it comes to that. So people who don't seem to understand it it does come across to their limited mindset as, too much, like you're doing too much kind of a thing, because they don't understand the nature
mm.
in which it's being, advertised or showcased.
Yeah, I just guess you just gotta take it in. You just gotta take it in from one ear to the other. Otherwise, you'll just go crazy.
Definitely, because if you are gonna like really dwell on it, it can really be very destructive for that individual. It can be.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen. And yeah,
yeah,
every model, every supermodel out there, there's Cindy Crawford,
mm,
Naomi Campbell, Priyanka Chopra. I mean, if you watch other interviews and podcasts, they all say the same thing. You gotta
mm,
just be so strong to
mm,
handle
mm.
this, all of this. You gotta be really, really strong. And I
Yeah.
agree with you 100%. Take it in one year, put it on the other, literally. Yeah,
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks so much for giving me your time. It's always a pleasure.
you as well. Loved chatting with you again, and all the best for the new year.
You too.
Okay.